Hey, Mom. Life. It's Wednesday morning. I'm gonna start running some of my sketches by you. I used to do stand-up comedy. Did you know that? I know. I better get rolling. Huh? Hey, no. Hey, listen, please. Shh. Listen. Sorry, that's my fault. I get a little distracted. Some of you, I see we're three, you two guys don't have boxes yet. When you do, the boxes are supply boxes. Do not put trash in there. Do not take things out of there unless I tell you to. Okay, Henry? Okay, so there's some rulers, some glue sticks so that you'll be able to glue stuff in now. But don't, just ignore them. Pretend they're not there. I know that you like to fidget, but they'll be there for the rest of the year. Leave them there. Don't mess with them. And especially, do not put your trash in them. Do you understand me? Arcane, can you hear? Yes, this is important to me. And it's important to me because it's a small detail that drives me crazy. Put your trash in the trash can. Before that, if you really just are a terrible human, leave it on the table. Please do not put it in the box. Okay? I won't even go with, some of you I'll have to take that you don't put it in the box even though you don't make it to the trash can. I realize that's where we're at. Okay? Okay, that's my note about the boxes. Keep it real. Second thing, it's early dismissal. I don't normally see you guys for 20 more minutes, so I'm a little thrown off, but we can adapt. You are going to take a test in here on Monday. I told you that at the beginning of the week. On Monday. That means we're going to spend today reviewing. And you're going to take your test on Monday. So before we get to the review, so that I can check off your homework, let's go ahead and get out our notebooks. Now you have glue right at your table, so if you needed to glue in that homework, go ahead and take a minute to do that.
What? Are you dying?
No?
Yeah. Up and then check it out. There's our classwork also glued in there, and then there's our homework. It's like this is on purpose. Okay? After that, go ahead and write today's date. And your warm up today. Maybe you're surprised that we're doing this. Shh, you already said that. I added the word exact because I want you to be exact. So I'm just going to tell you right now.
Is that 0.5 or just 5?
It's definitely 5 with a smudgy.
Okay.
1 comma 5. So -4, 3, and 1 comma 5. Here's the deal. You could easily plot those on a graph. You could easily draw a line. You could easily figure out the slope. What you can't easily figure out is the y-intercept. I want the y-intercept to be exact. Exact doesn't mean you look and try and really closely look at where it's crossing the y-axis. Exact means you use a little bit of algebra. That's how we get things exact. Okay, so like the notes that we've been working on the past several classes, that's what I want you working on. Okay, these are just also full disclosure. These are the hardest types of problems we have this unit. Okay. So especially these ones that are not in context, they're just 2 points. Finding slope and y-intercept is definitely the hardest part, but we've been working on it, so I think you guys have a good shot. If you have nowhere else to start, make a graph, plot the points. Everyone should get the slope, like no problem. Everyone should at least have the slope, okay? So while you guys work on that, have out 2.11, please. Hi, good morning. Hi, good morning. Oh, just checking. I could do this completely, finding slope and plugging in things algebraically. Do we want me to or no?
Yes.
Okay, so if I was going to find the slope, we'll go ahead and get slopey. There's x1, y1, x2, y2. I like to label them. If I'm finding the slope, because that's always my first step, find the slope. I like to label my steps. That way I have some clue of what I did. Hey, 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 hey. So, y2, 5, minus y1, 3, over x2, 1, minus a negative 4. Whoa. I can also see that I can't help it. I have to graph it. Okay. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Here I can also see my slope right there. Okay. I can also see my slope right there. So, if, hey, if you're going to be doing slope here, that's fine. You had better be right, though. Oh, dear. You had better be right. Because what I hate to see, and I told you this before, is I hate to see students use formulas that don't make any sense to them. And then you come up with some weird answer where if you just graphed it, you would clearly see you should have a slope of up to over 5. So if we don't get up to over 5 or we don't check our work, that's unacceptable to me. It is not okay for you to use a formula and get it wrong. Not okay. Do it the way that makes sense. I like to see you practicing the formula. In my perfect world, you'd use the formula and the graph, and then things would start to make more sense. Okay? But in my formula, I do get 5 minus 3 is 2, and subtracting a negative is adding 1 plus 4 is 5. So all is well. Okay, we've got slope of 2 over 5 here, slope of 2 over 5 here. The issue is I don't know my y-intercept.
I do.
Okay? I could guess, I could look, I could even do some things with the slope that I'm not going to do. What I am going to do is use my equation and my point to work backwards. The same work we were doing last class where we were looking at, okay, if I knew my profit per item and I knew a point where I had sold a certain amount of items and made a certain amount of profit, we could work backwards to find our startup cost. Same thing we're going to do here. Okay? Same thing, we're going to plug in the point and slope. So the first thing, if I were writing my equation, here's what I have so far. I don't know where I start, but I know my slope is 2 over 5. Okay, I don't know my y-intercept or my startup cost or my starting point. I do know it has to go through this point, negative 4, 3. I do know it has to go through that point. Since negative 4 is x and 3 is y, and I'm going to write it down here again, negative 4 is x and 3 is y, negative 4 can go in for x, and 3 can go in for y. So now I have an equation that looks like this. 3 equals y-intercept plus 2 over 5 times negative 4. Okay? Because again, if that's a point, we have to be able, that has to fit our line. That point has to work in my equation. So I can use that to find now my y-intercept. Okay? Same thing you guys did before. You took the profit per item and you multiplied it by how many items you had sold. Right? And then you subtracted. That's what we've been doing. So here, if I multiply these, a quick note on fractions. You don't have to be amazing with fractions, but you do have to know how to work around it if you're not amazing with fractions. Okay? So if you don't know yet how to put 2/5 into the calculator, you better get with it quick. 2/5, always make it fractions with parentheses. 2 divided by 5. times negative 4 gives you negative 1.6. So when I multiply these guys, I get negative 1.6. So I have 3 equals b minus 1.6. And of course, what's the opposite of subtracting 1.6? Adding 1.6. So I'm going to add 1.6 in order to figure out my y-intercept. I get 4.6 for my starting value. So now I know my starting value. I know my slope was 2/5. I write my actual equation. Okay, y equals, it starts at 4.6. I'm going up 2/5 each time. Boom. That's 4.6. Okay. Again, I'll keep saying it because it's important to me. This is very abstract. I'm not telling you this all has to make sense to you, because all of you can work backwards when we're in context, when we're talking about profit per item and startup cost. Okay? But this is also the abstract version. Xander.
So is it also acceptable if you write the 2/5 as a fraction or as a decimal?
Kind of, yes.
Okay. So if we have like y equals 4.6 plus
0.4. Yeah, you could write this at 0.4, especially because this is already a decimal. I wouldn't really care. If this was a whole number, right? If you had an equation like this, we would not write this as a fraction because this is really easy to graph, right? The fraction is actually really easy to graph. That's where we like fractions, because it just tells me to go up 2/5. If I had this, and here's what Xander's saying, 0.4, because 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. That, you'd be like, how do I graph that? Like, I can't graph. Yeah. So, okay. Quick note on your homework. D.
Yes.
Not you. Part D. 5, part D. 5, part D. A quick note. When you plug in 4 and 7, I'm going to do it right here. Okay, for 1, we've talked about these smushed together letters, mean times. That's S times T. Mean times. Okay, and we know that order of operations is PEMDAS. So if I plug them in, I get something that looks like this, 4 times 7 squared. I have to do what's in parentheses first. Parentheses first. 4 times 7 is 28. And then I have to do exponents next, right? So I did parentheses, now do exponents. 28 squared is 784. Now that I've done exponents, now I can multiply 3 times 784, which should give me my final answer of 2,352. Please double check that your order of operations is correct and that you did get 2,352. If you did not, my legs. Yours is wrong. Yours wrong too.
It was wrong because I wrote down 21. That's what I wrote down 28.
Okay. Any other questions about homework? Things that are like, what? I didn't know.
No, it was all
Cool. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. We get out of here in like 40 minutes. Okay? 40 minutes. Here's what's going to happen. A note about reviews. This is not an extensive, covers everything review. What can be on your test is everything that we have covered so far. Okay? This really the review is bare minimum. Okay? Every year I have students complain. They say, that wasn't on the review. And I say, no duh. Okay? No, just so you know, I will be very upfront with you. No, I do not try and make my tests exactly like things that you've already seen. My interest is not in you regurgitating information. It's in you being able to solve new problems with the information you already know. Yes, your test will look different than this, especially if you're trying to get an A. There are no A-level questions on this review. It's the bare minimum. Okay? So think of this review as must-dos. That means everything on here. Hey, children, could you just let me finish my spiel? I'm really into it. Okay. Anyway, if there's something on this review you can't do, listen, this is the part. Lorenzo, look up here. Dee and Yahi, I really am, yeah, thanks. I like being the center of attention. If there's something on here you can't do, you need to ask for help. It is not okay to skip it. I promise, while it's not extensive, everything on here will be on the test. You can't just be like, slope, yeah, I'm going to skip that one. I don't really know it. Bad idea. I promise slope will be on there. Okay, great. So please make sure you guys are taking your time. These are your homework, technically. Okay, I would never actually give you an entire page of 10 problems for homework because I'm giving you so much time to do it in class. Really, the expectation is you should be done with it by the end of today. Okay, and then any questions you have, you can get them answered on tomorrow morning. You can come by Monday, but you're taking your test on Monday. Okay, questions about what's my expectation? No? All right. Get to it then.